Here's a quick video to show you around some of the key features of Teambee. It's a web-based system to help groups and teams manage jobs and tasks, collection and delivery, assignment and dispatching of those jobs, workers or volunteers, all of your customers and clients, and any payments associated with jobs. Teambee is the place that you store the organizations that provide services for your customers, the jobs and tasks that you're working on, and of course all the people that you're working with, including managers, admins, volunteers or agents and customers. Teambee can also synchronize with your other software systems too. First of all, let's take a look at jobs. Every job has a job type, which relates to a service that someone can perform. The job could be a service request from a customer to get a boiler fixed, or a scheduled cleaning of a holiday cottage. You can create as many job types as you like. When you create volunteers or workers, you select which services or which job types they can be assigned to. Effectively, mini teams for each job type. As well as setting workers for each job type, you can also create teams to completely separate different groups of job, perhaps by region or call center. A job often has a provider, but doesn't have to. All jobs have a customer. You manage the flow of job through the system with statuses. Also on the job list you can see and manage assignees, and of course there are lots of filters and you can export your data too. Let's take a look at a job for a customer, Mr. Dave Irene. This is to collect some shopping from a local butcher and deliver it to his house. From the status, we see that the job is ready for collection. Anyone with permission to update the job can simply hit the button to change the status and add a note which can be sent to everyone involved in the job, so everyone can see who did what and when. Different job types can have different statuses. And here are the notes that have been added before. We can see the provider and the collection address if there is one. We can see the customer details, along with any delivery specific information that might have been added to their address. The customer has requested the job for the 4th of June, but we don't yet know the time. The customer's requirements are added to the job, often from an email or phone call, but the system can also be set up so that customers can place requests themselves online. Teambee has an API which lets you create jobs automatically from your own web forms too. If you want more structure to your jobs, you can convert this information into line items, which you can then edit to add prices and calculate a total. If your organization tracks payments made for jobs, you can record who has paid who and see which jobs still need payment. If you need to upload files, you can do that too. Let's assign this job to a volunteer or worker. It's a shopping job, so all volunteers approved for shopping show in the list. You can also assign it to team admins and managers. If you know who you want to assign it to, just search. Alternatively, you can find shoppers that are available on the day, or even for a specific time on that day. If the worker location matters, then you can find the nearest person. Teambee also has a first responder option, which lets you broadcast a message to all shoppers, and the first to claim the job is assigned. Just like when you update the status, you can add a note and send notifications too. Based on how you've set up your job types, the volunteer is either assigned immediately or has to accept the job. In this case, they've been sent a notification which they have to accept. Now let's take a look at the volunteers side of things. I'll do this on the small screen as though they were doing it on their phone. They click the email or SMS or notification to see more detail of the job, and then they click to accept or decline it. If this is a job that needs collecting, then they update the status. It's all pretty simple. If you have financials turned on, the volunteer can also put in what they paid, how they paid, and upload a photo of the receipt. Again, any notes they add will be stored on the system for the rest of the team to stay up to speed. When the job is delivered, update the status again. While we're on the volunteer's view, let's have a look at their job list. They can update multiple jobs at once, see them on a map, or even select jobs for Teambee to suggest the best route between addresses. Back to the admin view again, for the same job, we can see the audit trail and the payments that were entered. If you're happy that the job is complete, simply update the status. If you want to create a follow-up job at this point, or you could do it when you collect or deliver, you can just do so with a couple of clicks. If there's a problem with the job, all you need to do is put it on hold with a note to explain why, so that the next person can see what's going on. You could even reassign it to another team member if you wanted, with an email and a text message to let them know. As well as the job list, there's also a map view of jobs, which is handy when you're assigning work based on delivery address. Next, let's take a look at managing people. Everyone you work with can be added into Teambee. Customers, clients, volunteers, workers, engineers, providers, and so on. You can add them one by one, import from a CSV or spreadsheet, or create them automatically over API from your own web forms or other systems. You can sync data with email marketing platforms too, such as MailChimp. As well as basic contact information and address, you can upload files, add notes to keep a record of conversations and activities, and the information you store about people can be extended with custom fields too. To make someone into a worker or volunteer, you add them to a team. Then you can approve them for a job type, which allows them to be assigned to those types of job. Now is a good time to jump across and take a look at the team structure. Teams are made up of managers, admins, and volunteers. Managers can see and do everything for the team. Admins are typically those people scheduling or dispatching jobs, and volunteers are the people doing the jobs. You can see how admins and volunteers can be restricted to only certain job types. And this assignment of job type goes through an approval process. You can see here that this particular volunteer has applied but hasn't yet received approval for those types of jobs. You can have multiple teams set up in your Teambee account, and people can be part of more than one team. Now let's take a look at the calendar. Here's where you can see jobs and also your team members' availability. Jobs show up in the colour assigned for their status, so it's easy to see if anything is falling through the cracks. If a job hasn't been assigned to someone or hasn't been given a time, just drag it into the calendar. That'll set the time and show you who's available on that day at the time for that type of job. The calendar is also where you manage team availability. Availability slots can be one-off or repeating. Volunteers and admins can of course manage their own availability when they log into Teambee. Finally, let's take a look at businesses or providers. Jobs don't need to have providers, but in most cases will do. The provider is typically the collection address, perhaps a shop or local supplier. On a per business basis, you can choose whether customers can place requests themselves online. And here's an example request form. And don't forget you can use your own web forms too over API. If you're working closely with a local provider, you can also create a separate team for them so that they can log into your Teambee account and only see the jobs assigned to their organisation. So that's a broad overview of the capabilities of Teambee. It's built for managing, assigning and reporting on any kind of job for your organisation, handling the people you work with and keeping everybody in touch. Sign up for a free trial account at teambee.org.